I refuse to believe that every single man that gets an email here is like hates their wife, doesn't brush their teeth, cheats. Like, it's just not the reality.
Hello, my name is Mrs. Melanin.
And I'm Belief Mel.
And we're here with episode 241 of How Married Are You?
Okay, my name Belief. This is a very married 14
years.
Live in California. We got four
kids.
Relationships scary. It's very necessary. Share love struggles. We ask
how married are you?
Every Tuesday and Thursday, shoddy. If you're listening, you're in the wedding party. It's okay if you want to put your hands up. You got the questions. We got the answers.
It's chocolate baby story time.
Chocolate baby story time.
It's chocolate baby story time.
1, 2, 3, and
it's chocolate baby story time.
So we've been to the dentist, y'all. We have been to the dentist. And let me tell you something. It is expensive. It is expensive. I don't even know if I want to tell y'all this, but not everybody, some people get them. My children got cavities. 3 out of the 4 got cavities. And if you know anything about that, and if you don't have dental insurance, and you're an entrepreneur, then you know that we need to start a GoFundMe. Oh my gosh. This morning I took Uriah to the dentist, and it was just, a nail in the coffin. I was just kind of like, if you guys don't... My dad, when I was a little girl, I don't even know if I was a little girl, but when we were young, he used to watch us not brush our teeth before we went to sleep, watch us fall asleep, and then wake us up at like 1 a.m. and tell us to go brush our teeth. It was wild. And so...
I appreciate that level of petty.
Yeah. I'm about to start doing that with these children. I'm going to wait for them to get to sleep.
You are not.
I'm not, because I'll be sleeping.
You are not that person at all.
I will be knocked out.
That is something I would do.
Let's keep it real. Those kids be up later than me. But man, oh my gosh, you just turned up my headphones.
Oh, you're using mine. That's the problem.
Oh. So anywho, yeah. I've never really enjoyed the dentist, but now having 4 kids who also have to go see the dentist, I'm like, I don't enjoy the dentist even more. But anywho, we're gonna have to figure something out because...
Yeah, I mean, we'll just live and then we'll work and then we won't have any money.
What?
I mean, we don't have to start a GoFundMe. Remember
No, I was just kidding. I wasn't saying that, but I'm just saying this. Let's just say, put it in perspective for you. Raya's appointment alone, I don't even know if you know how much it was.
Well, you didn't tell me.
$775.
Yeah. But see, the problem is when they go, can I have a snack or can I have this and this and this?
Yeah.
You got to say no.
Yeah.
And you have a hard time saying no.
You're right, babe. I don't know about that, but babe, you're turning down my headphones.
Give my headphones.
Why can't you just turn down the other knob?
I'm always one.
Okay.
I'm on every channel.
Well, you can't be number 1 all the time. I'm number 1 today.
I'm number 1 and not getting these kids cavities because I try to know all the time.
Don't even put that on me. That is so disrespectful.
It is?
Mm-hmm. It is.
Okay,
It is. Regardless of what you say right now, it is. I don't like it. Don't say it again.
Okay.
It's not just me. You could be making sure they're actually brushing their teeth after I give them all the obnoxious things that you say I give them.
We can stop giving them the obnoxious things.
But I don't have an argument. This is not Angel and Marcus podcast.
Oh, wow.
This is How Married Are You?
Angel and Marcus, our friends, have a podcast called Is This Gonna Cause an Argument? And
that was just a joke. It was not.
It apparently is gonna cause an argument. Okay, so let me think. Man, Anaya, man, what a bright star in our lives. Get out of here, Lily.
It's always somebody.
Lily, go to Crate. She needs to bathe and she doesn't smell good, so we need to schedule an appointment. But Anaya, she's getting so good at drawing. Mm-hmm. It's like unfair how good she is. She's just asking for random things. Dad, can you give me a picture of a crab? She drew a crab.
I saw that.
Can you give me a picture of a shark? And it's not traced because it's not proportionate to the thing. She is really just drawing and figuring it out, and she's getting so good. And I love it about her. And I used to draw when I was a kid, and I stopped drawing a lot because my grandmother, I drew a picture of my grandmother. And
you grew a picture?
I drew a picture of my grandmother, and she had it hung up in her room or whatever, and then her room caught on fire. And the picture burned. I'm so.
What is happening?
Babe, you know what's happening. I'm out of things. So the picture burned. My grandmother picture burned. I drew for her. It took me a long time to do it. I was 8 years old, and after that, I just didn't want to draw no more.
It sounded like you said my grandmother burnt the picture I drew for her.
No. She didn't burn it. She knew I was good.
This story has gone left.
But it's gone. And that hurt because I spent a lot of time on that.
Oh,
and
my gosh.
I stopped drawing that
poor
much.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Childhood trauma.
Trauma. That's trauma. What? That is a trauma. Welcome Black.
He stuttered again.
Man, we out here making videos about podcasts, man.
Oh my God.
If you're listening to this now, we should be all up to date uploading the podcast to the audio sites.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Apple, Spotify.
All the podcast apps.
All the podcast
He
apps.
can't really talk right now, y'all. Just try to say less.
All right, well, go ahead and hop into the email. Let's get the email.
Let's get into this email. Hello. I'm late to the wedding party, but I have been blessed just catching up on old episodes. I would really like some advice on how to approach this season of my marriage. We will be married 2 years this month, and from my perspective, we have had more trials than joyous times. We seem to just be living life together day by day. My husband is very standoffish and seems to not want to be here. He has more complaints than compliments, which doesn't help because my love language is words of affirmation. We've been in couples counseling off and on since before marriage, but we don't go often to make a real change, I feel. I genuinely don't feel liked by him, and here's why. Every night I initiate quality time, his love language, 90% of the time. He says if I don't come to him, then he feels I don't want to be bothered. We've been on one date this year. This is something I've communicated is important to me. We don't speak throughout the day. If I don't initiate conversation, there is none. He basically leaves everything up to me. He hasn't worked in the last 1.5 years. He's pursuing entrepreneurship. So I pay the bills, take majority care of our kids, and still am the one to initiate connection between us. He feels that I rushed us getting married, though he did propose on his own. I suggested we got married 6 months after he proposed. He feels that I rushed getting married, though he did propose on his own. I suggested we get married 6 months after he proposed. We had been living together almost 2 years at that time. I also suggested we have a baby months after marriage, which he says he wasn't ready for either. So basically, I've made some poor decisions and am regretful. My question is, I am at the end of my ropes, feeling overworked and unloved, and that I've decided I will no longer be the one to initiate connection, quality time, communication, or sex. Oh, I left out that he says he doesn't talk to me much because I don't talk about things he likes. Ha. Oh, she laughed too. Since my choices have rushed him and I feel like I've been leading, I am waiting to see if he can lead us to connection. I told him I am at a stop until I feel his effort. So far, we haven't really spoken in a week. Dang. Am I wrong for my stance?
We got to get new emails. Maybe I should start looking through the emails.
Okay.
Is this all we're getting?
I mean, it's a lot of what we're getting, but let me see if I can find something else.
No. I'm just saying that this is the sound. Mm-hmm. This is the same song just played back. All right. So you have a guy that is a bare minimum, right? So what I want to say about that is that I think you should do those things you said. You should do those things. You should stop initiating sex. You should stop initiating points of connection. You should just not. Because, my friend, you are at your wit's end.
You should just not what?
You should just not try, right? She said, I'm at the end of my rope. So now she's at the end of her rope, And now she's trying to figure out what she should do. So I feel like when you're at the end of your rope, ain't really nothing else to grab onto. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So go ahead and stop trying. I do think there's hope, of course. I don't know who this guy is. I don't know who this same individual is. It's like this, all these guys are just. But if I'm going back in my own situation, it doesn't seem like that is the average man. Like, out of the people I know from my own experience, I don't know that this guy is the only guy that's out there. But these are the emails we're getting. So it seems like this is just men. And that's not true. It's not true. What do you have to say? You think it's just men?
I'm wondering, like, for me, I agree. The tune of the emails that we're getting are very much so like this. And a part of me is wondering at some point, because it's the women writing in, so I would love to hear the male's perspective.
Yeah.
And that's my thing. And I'm not saying that I doubt that these things are true about her efforts toward the relationship.
100%.
I'm just curious what is happening from his side of things. Because I feel like there could be points in our relationship where you felt some kind of way. Mm-hmm. And I felt like I was doing, like, no, let's talk about it though, for real. So
rolls up her sleeves.
I just did that because it was sliding down. No, but listen, because there have been times where, like, Glenn will bring things up and it is so exhausting. Now, we haven't been in this season in a while. So let me just preface it by saying that so I don't bring up any more ish, because I am not trying to be going to bed all but hurt tonight or anything like that. But what I'm saying is there have been seasons where Glenn will bring something up. And Glenn's the type of guy who he will suffer in silence for as long as he can. And by the time he's brought it up, he has every which way to explain to me what I've done wrong or like what is frustrating him about me. But it'll be something that I'm like, man, I've really been trying to be intentional in working on that area in my life, but I just haven't hit the mark. And I can't think of any specific examples in this moment.
There's so many. I know you can. I don't know them.
Oh,
but I know there's many. But just keep talking. we can bring them up if you allow.
Yeah. Go ahead. I don't care. Do I care? Maybe I care. I don't know. But it's like, man, I've really been trying to be intentional about this. And then Glenn brings up that I'm still not meeting the mark or whatever. And it's like, dang, I really have been trying. And so I feel like sometimes, like, and I don't know if this is the case for him per se,
right,
or her.
This is not giving any man any leadway. We are just trying to figure out what's happening in relationships in general.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is that in general, that like sometimes we see things from our perspective and he sees things from his perspective and we're like, what? That's not what's happening at all in my world. And it's like, are we even living in the same reality? And so when we receive emails like this, it's challenging for me to, like, I want to just be able to sit down with the people and ask more questions. It was funny because that one episode that we did with the husband who didn't brush his teeth often, in the comment section of that, people had so many questions. Like, is he depressed? Has this been going on since you guys were dating? Or is this a new thing?
Those are good questions.
These are all like really good questions. And it's like, I have so many follow-up questions. Can you answer these questions for me? Mm-hmm. But in this situation, I'm like, I don't really know what's happening out there. I do know that I have people in my life who are single and they have been in the dating world.
Yeah.
And we have heard some of their stories and situations.
Yeah.
Specifically, I'm thinking about, actually, I don't want to say.
You should not.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? So we've heard things. Dang. We've heard things, but it's kind of like, I will tell you this. I am grateful to be married.
Okay. I'm very
I'm
grateful.
sorry. I don't mean to say that at the expense of all of our listeners who are not married.
Yeah, because I didn't give anybody
That didn't
anything.
give
But
anybody
I am
hope.
glad to be
Sorry.
married to you as well. But I just want to say this. From my experience as a man, I don't know if you hear me.
Say more.
I don't know if you hear me.
That's not saying more. That's repeating.
Like, I will tell you something exactly how I feel. And then I will give you examples of how I feel. And somewhere between me talking and it going across, right, the air in the room, and then to you, your interpretation of it isn't how I feel. It is something else. And I don't know as a man if I'm able to communicate to you the things that you need to hear from me as much as another woman would be able to. Because we have made leaps and bounds, but there was one conversation that, okay.
No, go ahead. I'm ready.
I want to talk.
I'm
but
sorry.
Right now,
Don't make facial expressions.
Your facial expressions are telling me that I'm weaponizing some sort of
No, go ahead, babe.
situation.
You're
I don't
safe.
want to do that.
This is a safe space.
All right. Well, okay. So, when I married Yvette, the presumption was that she understood how marriage worked, right? And that we were gonna work together, and we were gonna be together, and we were gonna be each other's people. That's what I thought. But once community came around, the community became more important to me. And for so long, I could never put into words of how much I needed you to help me do what I'm called to do as a man, as my life's mission. But the position was that I was your helpmate because I didn't feel like I had enough going on. You know what I'm saying? At the time I didn't, I would say. So I remember we got into this argument about she was doing an event at her school, and I was staying home dad with the kids, and I was DJing. I'm a DJ, right? I started out as a DJ, and she was like, well, my husband will do the pep rally. He'll DJ. And then you came home and was like, yeah, and I told him that you would DJ. And I was like, well, what's the budget? And that was like, budget? What do you mean budget? I'm like, well, the money's coming from somewhere. Like, I'm not making any income, and I want to make income for the house. And she's like, no, you're doing it for me.
Nepotism.
And I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I don't like DJing at all. You know what I'm saying? Mind you, who's going to watch the kids? They can come. So mind you, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I'm coming to do this event for my wife. I gotta watch the kids as well. It just was like the kids had childcare. I think they came.
I was watching.
You were watching the kids and doing your
kids.
job, right?
Yes.
So, mind you, these are babies.
They're toddlers. It's just Theo and Ryan.
They're babies. They're 2 and 3.
My babies.
Yeah. So anyway, there was this thing that was happening in our relationship that I was Yvette's helpmate. But then when things turned around and I needed help, Yvette could not figure out how to support me, even when I asked her for support. And, a lot of, I felt like I was foolish for asking for your help. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I don't know, but I almost begged you. You know what I'm saying? Like, please, I need this. If you can just do this for me, then we will be fine. You know what I'm saying?
You feel like you were specific at that time?
Absolutely. I feel like there was only, a certain thing when hey, he doesn't really ask for much, right? But when he asks for something, he needs it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I think that is where the thing gets lost, is where hey, I'm telling you what I need, and then you're telling me what I can handle, or what I should be able to do with what I have or something. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. What do you think about what I'm saying right now? Because I also don't want this to turn into an argument as well.
No, I don't think it's turning into an argument. I do think that for a lot of the times that you did ask for help, sometimes it wasn't very specific. And so it was like left up to me to figure it out. And then there were times that it was very specific and I dropped the ball. Like I just dropped the ball. And yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is true. I think sometimes the communication piece is like very important. But the communication piece is important, but the listening part is just as important. And I think that is where things get lost in relationships. And so like even here, the conversation about like, hey, like she was saying that his love language is quality time and her love language is words of affirmation. It's like, okay, yes, those are love languages, but what does that look like, sound like, feel like type thing? And maybe she's made some assumptions about what that is, and maybe he's made some assumptions about what that is, and those assumptions are wrong. You know what I mean? Like, as far as, or even just acknowledging the fact that, okay, they've been married 2 years, but they've been together for 4 years. If I'm like, they were living together before that. So they've been together at least 4 years. And so it's like, I think another thing within relationships is understanding that what was once true is not true. You know what I mean? It's kind of like along those lines of how we talk about how who you married is not who you end up with.
Yeah.
And so how long has it been since you guys have reevaluated your love languages? Because with children, my love language became acts of service. You know what I mean? Like, and
your love language is whatever I'm not doing.
That is not true. Maybe I don't know. I can't speak to your reality, but you know what I mean? Like things change and the ways we need to communicate change. And then even our capacity to hear changes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yes.
I feel like in that season, I was so tunnel vision.
Yeah.
I was thriving in my career. I really enjoyed what I did. And my husband had this skill set that would actually serve my mission or like my whatever. And I was like, let's just bring him in. And at that time, I didn't even have an understand. Like, I don't think that I fully grasped like being paid for something. You know what I mean? Like for me, so much of my growing up was like, we all do each other favors. Mm-hmm. It's like, you have a skill set, I have a skill set. Let's just train and, you know, like, let's just serve the mission overall. Mm-hmm. And as I've grown and become an entrepreneur and someone who makes money from using my gifts or whatever, I understand everybody deserves to be paid. Mm-hmm. Like we can't be out here asking people to do stuff for free.
Right.
And so there's a level of understanding that I now have through experience that I didn't have in that season of life. I just knew you had a skill set. You don't work. You could come to school and just hang out. Great job.
Yeah.
And you did. And I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm sorry.
No, it's not to, but I'm just trying to.
But do you understand what I'm saying though with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that I don't know. I don't know a space very, very much. I don't know a lot of men that don't know how to communicate exactly what they need. Mm-hmm. I know men that have been trained that they are not to ask. Like, I know what it feels like.
Do you feel like they've been trained not to ask or that they resolved not to ask?
They've been trained.
Interesting.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, like if you walk, you know, if I say, hey, can I have, or you ask me like, hey, can you make me a cake today? I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. And every day you ask me for cake and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. Right. You're going to stop asking because you don't get it that way. Mm-hmm. You're going to be like, well, I'm going to go to the store and make some milk. I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to figure it out. And I'm going to make.
What if the question changed? What if the question changed to, hey, what ingredients do you need to make this cake? Or what environment do you need to make this cake? Or what can I take off your plate for you to make this cake?
Mm-hmm.
Does that change it at all or no?
I think that does change it. I think knowing how to communicate that absolutely changes it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know that, and I'm not giving men out here. I'm just saying from my situation, it's a whole nother situation to be like, look, I'm not even asking you to make cake. I just need something. I'm hungry, right?
Or my suit.
I need help in some way. Can you please, right? And the answer is no. Because for us, you know, like we talked about before, and we briefly mentioned this in an episode where we talked about like I married someone's daughter, right? The whole our marriage wasn't about us. You know what I'm saying? So for me to like need you was hard. You know what I mean? I don't know if I had enough. I don't know. I just feel like it, from my perspective, I became bitter about like needing you, but not knowing, but knowing you wouldn't get it. Like knowing you wouldn't be able to help. You know what I'm saying? And not knowing how to communicate my needs in a way. Like once you beg for something and you realize somebody's not going to hear you, then you just kind of like, I'm not begging. You know what I'm saying? I'll just figure it out. But there was a time when someone did come along and was trying to help and you were like, you know what I'm saying? There was times like even how I got help. Like I was considering you and like, hey, I want to have this person help us do this. And you were like, I'm not comfortable with that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain times when like I've needed you to, I've been like, hey, like, well, what are you comfortable with? Like trying to consider you in all ways. But then when it was time for you to serve and you to know where you wanted to go help somebody, it was easy for you to do it. So I think that part was just so difficult in knowing how to communicate. You're right. It is communication, 100%.
But I think it's communication. Yes. Oh man, I don't know how to speak on it, but in my mind, I'm like, we are trained because in thinking about what you're sharing right now, I'm like, my whole existence, or like I said before, like we had the village, right?
Yeah, from your upbringing.
From my upbringing, we had the village. And so everyone kind of just stepped in where they were needed. And whoever's listening, but I don't know if I saw the women like heavily involved in their marriages. You know what I mean? Like the example I had grown up with.
Doesn't mean it didn't exist.
It doesn't mean it didn't exist. But what I observed and what I saw was everyone kind of pouring out. And now, mind you, I wasn't in those homes. And also I heard some things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So for me, I think like even just listening to you talk, I'm like, man, I was really like I hear what you're saying. And also I don't know if I would have been able to hear you until I was exposed to something different or until someone called me out in a way that was meaningful to me and it wasn't coming from you, if that makes sense. And so, yeah.
Because I do remember us going to like Bible study or couples counseling or whatever, or sitting down with a couple. And I'm going to be honest with you, a lot of the times I was the one that was off. Like I was the one that was kind of like, well, you got to work or you got to do this or you're not, blah, blah, blah. Right. And then like, you know, in every situation, the way it was framed, it was just kind of like, dude, you have to figure it out. As a man, you got to figure it out. You got to. And then it's like, but I'm also supposed to die to this person. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, all right, well, what I'll do is I'll build a hard exterior so nobody really gets in, and I'm going to be laser focused into what I'm doing. My passion, belief in fatherhood, in the garage, with the crickets, like in there, focused. You know what I mean? And when you ask me, hey, you want to go to a birthday party? Absolutely not. I do not, because it's just me. Right. And the response wasn't, well, I get it. What was the response?
Huh? Oh, your response?
No, what was your response when I said I don't want to go to a birthday party?
It was basically like, what?
Yeah, it was like
how do you not go and support our people like this?
Exactly. You don't you don't really care about the people.
Yeah.
And that wasn't it. It was just me. You know what I mean? So I think that there is a dynamic between us that as husband and wife, like we get it a lot more now than we did. And I still feel like we have so far to go. But I do feel like there is a level of respect when Yvette goes, man, he's working. You know what I'm saying? Like he's figuring out what he has to do for his.
And I'll even admit that I have, like, there was a point where I'd be like, oh, he's working again. You know, like that's how I would do it. But now I feel like I'm much better about protecting, like, he's taking care of home first. You know what I mean? Like, I don't say it in a way that is, because there was a way I would say it that was more resentful than anything else, admittedly. But now I get it. And I think that even your boundaries surrounding us, like your family and how you protect us and your time with us and even just your time in general, have taught me a lot about how to protect my own time and what to say yes to and what to say no to.
And what was that for you? What was that turning point for you?
What was it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Like what happened? Or what did you see?
I think I just realized or came to terms with, and I know some people are like, how you not get that? But at the end of the day, it's going to be me and Glenn. Like, it really is. And so why am I out here helping other people build their thing, or, you know what I mean? Versus us. And I think that too, something that I don't know if it was in the couples therapy or if it was just amongst the two of us, but something else that I think it was couples therapy, that I realized is that, like, I was sewing into the village just in case. Like, and we may have talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah.
But I was sewing into the village because I'm like, well, if this don't work out or if he dies, I need to make sure I still have support. And even if that's how my village operated, that isn't the kind of conditional love or whatever that I would want.
What a terrible
for
marriage.
myself and my family.
That doesn't feel like that's a terrible reality for us to live in, to where like we're like, all right, well, I remember like being like, okay, well, I get it. You were like, hey, it's just gonna be you and me. I get that now, because even now the community is still the community. You know what I'm saying? The family is still together. You know what I mean? And there's something about recognizing that, like I already knew, and this isn't because of anything. I don't know who taught me this, but like I knew that if I invested in you, I would get a return. You know what I mean? And it wasn't about like immediately, or it just was like, instead of trying to find somebody else and make them, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'd rather build you and sow into you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Can you think about that a little bit longer? Because where did you learn that from? Or is it something you observed? Because I don't think that I've seen that. Like, I'm not saying that I haven't seen it since we've been married, but like growing up, I'm trying to think of like where there was the return on the investment type vibes. You know, like,
I don't know.
I'm trying to think of tangible examples of people where I saw a woman who was really, you know, whatever of her husband, and he blossomed.
I don't know if it is the same.
If it's the same, what do you mean by
that way? Because I'm thinking about.
Oh, you don't think it goes the opposite way?
It could.
Interesting.
You know what I'm saying? But I know for sure that, like, hey, I'm trying to help and protect you, and I want you to trust me. I don't want to harm you, because the thought is that You want me to keep touching you?
No, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here.
I got. Oh
You got
yeah, I
rough
have.
hands.
No, I cut myself. Oh, sorry. Like there was a part where you just didn't trust me at all, right? Like anytime I was doing something, it's like, well, what are you trying to do?
Yeah. I'm a control freak. I just need to know what's happening. I need to know the risks involved.
Yeah, and I'm like, yo, like nothing. Like I really want this thing to be great. You know what I mean? Or I want us to grow together. And I think once we got to the point where the community became, you know, a bit of opposition, I felt threatened. You know what I'm saying? And then I started to be like anti. I'm not going to that and tell them I said no. Send me the link so I can uninvite myself. No, I think I became resentful, and that built up a wall. So a lot of our issues during that time, you know what I mean, where you were like, hey, I'm trying to make money for myself, and you know what I'm saying, I got a diaper bag and I want to show it, you know what I'm saying, as my content. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
He gonna be 70 years old talking about that diaper bag.
That's so stupid. So like that whole thing, and I'm like, I want us to grow together, but now like I need you to help me build this thing that's gonna benefit you. You know, and that small little bit of communication was so hard to understand. And the crazy thing is, a lot of the Christian women around us, nobody could see that. Like not one Christian man or woman. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to single out the women there, but I felt like the reason why I singled out the women is because it is a believing woman now in your life who's able to be like, you gotta tighten up there, Yvette. You know what I'm saying? Because she's able to see it. So imagine how many people are in church or in church community who are around people who are just surviving, trying to survive, and not trying to thrive in their relationships, right? And so this is all a way, and this email basically just brought to the surface the lack of communication, how terrible that is. There's something that he's holding on to.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's not me giving him the benefit of the doubt. I'm just telling you he got it in his hands and he won't let it go. There's something about their relationship that he doesn't feel like he can talk or communicate. Maybe because he's an asshole. It could just be because he's a jerk. You know what I'm saying? But there's something that happened that he's like,
And then also, like, I really think we should think about what he has seen. You know? Because I think what he's holding on to, it sounds like he's resentful of the life they're living. You know? Like having kids so soon, getting married so soon. He's like, I wasn't even completely sure I wanted this, and now I'm like deep in this, and I have to make it work because
I want to make my things.
Why do I have to, you know? So I think it's obvious that he's feeling some sort of resentment.
Yeah, that was a good call, man.
I don't know if and I think she's aware of that resentfulness. I think she's just trying to figure out how to overcome it because she feels like she's been trying. But I think for us, one of the things that what's happening behind my back?
I need water.
One of the things that Glenn and I recently had a revelation. I'm gonna share. Where, Glenn's always known. Glenn has always known that he didn't trust me. And I don't know that I fully understood how deep that went. And it stems back, and I don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
To my childhood? With my mama?
Yes, it stems, I hope I don't forget what I was trying to say. It stems back to his mama. I'm just kidding. No, but it stems back to when I quit my job. So when I quit teaching, I quit teaching. So
good job, man.
We also have to so I've also had to come to this point where I call a spade a spade. And I think that is the essence of what's happening here. And what I'm trying to, this is what I'm trying to say really quick. I'm going to say it out loud so that you hear it and then I'll come back. what I'm trying to say is that I don't know if he himself has identified his, like, or actually it sounds like he has expressed himself to her, but I don't know if she's hearing him the way she needs to hear him, which has been the whole conversation, this whole podcast. But like back in the day, I quit my job. After Anaya was born, I was like, I'm not going back to work. And in the past, I framed it as Glenn knew, like he knew my teaching credential was about to expire. He knew this, that, and the other, whatever. And I was like, I'm just not going to move forward with it. I'm just going to stay home because, mind you, that last year of teaching, I was already having an internal battle about being home. I mean, being at work with these people and then my boys being home with their dad. Like I was wanting to come home to the kids. But Glenn was like, babe,
before you quit.
Before I quit, Glenn was like, babe, that is fine, but can you give me one more year? And that is an example of how earlier he was like, hey, I've asked you for help. And you...
Yeah, and just add this a little bit. So it wasn't just, hey, can you give me 1 year? It was like, hey, we don't have insurance. We don't have this. You make this.
Yeah.
If you give me another year, I promise you we will be fine.
Yeah.
That was the conversation.
Yeah. And in my mind, I made up all kinds of excuses as to why I couldn't do that. And essentially, I just said no. And like Glenn said, it wasn't necessarily easy for him to ask me for help. Like he didn't really like to have to ask for anything really. And so when he did like do that, and I basically just was like, nah, I don't got your back type thing. And then literally threw him to the wolves. At that time, we did not have health insurance. Honestly, and the way teachers, now mind you, the way teachers' salaries are set up. So Anaya was born in March. The school year ends in June. My last paycheck was going to be paid, I think, at the end of June, or was it at the end of July? I think you get paid for the month at the end of the following month. So my last paycheck was July. So we may have done well. And at that time, my income was the income. Glenn had income from music and different random things, but it wasn't consistent and it wasn't necessarily dependable at the time.
And we also had your school loans.
And we also had my school loans. And also he, at this time he was becoming more of a social media influencer, but he wasn't making anything near what he makes now. No. He actually got played a lot, like a couple of times during that season.
I was making $1,500 a month. Our budget was $3,000.
Yeah. And so it was really kind of one of those things like Nicole. I call myself, my middle name's Nicole. So sometimes I call myself Nicole when I'm talking to myself. I think it comes from like childhood because my mom calls me Nicole and all those aunties call me Nicole. Anywho, I was like, Nicole, like looking back now, talking to her, like, girl, what were you thinking? Like, I literally did not care for Glenn at all. And I'm going to try not to get emotional. But that was like just so careless of me, because even though like I would have had to figure some things out, but I could have figured it out. I had all kinds of connections. I could have gotten another teaching job for the following school year. But I was so like tunnel vision on what I wanted for myself. And I was like, he's going to figure it out. And so I put it on him to figure out. And it wasn't something that like we came alongside each other and partnered and was like, okay, I'm going to work this year. You're going to like, start to build things up. We're going to be fine. But at the end of this year, whatever. And so in that season, all I could see was me. Mm-hmm. Like I couldn't see him.
And the kids.
I could see me and I could see the kids, because all I really wanted to do was be at home with those kids. And so there was a lack of care there. And at the time, Glenn may have known. And so from there became the trust issue of like, hey, like, I don't trust that you are willing to put in what's necessary for our family to be successful or to be cared
at the end
for.
of the day. But the story I told myself, at the end of the day, Yvette's going to do what she wants to do.
Yeah.
She's going to choose her comfort over what we need. So I'm not going to put her in a position to where I need her.
Yes. Yes. And the crazy thing about that is in choosing my comfort,
you chose discomfort. You had it made, shorty.
I'm so sorry. I can laugh about it now. It's really not funny. But in choosing my comfort, I chose discomfort. I chose discomfort for our livelihood, and I chose discomfort in my marriage. Like, that was a huge defining moment. And the thing about it is, this is like a literally, did we have this conversation this year?
Yes. This was
this year.
This was before we moved, but yeah.
Yeah. So like, this is literally like, because I had thought that maybe Glenn had gotten over it. Like, maybe we've moved on beyond this. But come to find out, at the beginning of this year, we had a conversation with a third party, and
you had a conversation with your therapist, and your therapist was like,
"Oh yeah. I had a conversation with my therapist, and she's like, Yvette, you might want to ask him, has he forgiven you for the thing? And then did I bring it up to you, and then we brought it up to the third party?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So anywho, which is why you should have a marriage mentor, relationship, whatever.
Absolutely.
But she was able to come into the conversation and like call a spade in a way that allowed me to hear it in a way that I hadn't heard it in 8 years.
Mm-hmm. And it broke me.
It was like the way that he responded to her bringing it out was very like, whoa, for me. Like, it was a slap in the face, because I was like, man, but you can trust me. But everything that I have proven to him up until this point has been, no, you can't trust me, because I'm going to always do what I want to do because I can. Mm-hmm. Because you have created an atmosphere where you are now. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't want to put me in a position to have to need whatever.
Yeah, and this is just like, and so to these men, right, who are in this situation, I promise you this is long suffering. Like, I promise you. Because I told Yvette, I need you. And she said, you got it. But don't do this and don't do that. And she, you know what I'm saying? And so there comes a point in my manhood what I should have been like, you've lost the right. And let her deal with it among herself. Like, and that's like, I really needed to say that to you, because you did. You lost the right to tell me what to do when you stop allowing me to protect us. You know what I'm saying? Like when you, so I there needed to be that moment, and I say, hey, I'm gonna do everything. I'm gonna try to work within your parameters, but there's certain things I can't do, right? Because there's a mission now to be accomplished, and it's okay if you communicate what she cannot understand.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay that you say that in a way that she can, hear you. She's not going to be able to hear you anyway. Right. So, but you have to be able to speak to somebody. That's why it's important for men to have therapy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think it's important it would have been important for me to just say, hey, because you left the job and you came home, it's not on you no more. Like, it's on me. But I feel like that wouldn't have been received well.
Yeah, I'm having even a hard time with what you just said. I'm trying to decide whether or not I'm in alignment
and
with what you said, and you don't really, okay.
No, it's not that I don't care. It's just like, my love, like, what am I to do?
I know. And that's kind of the thing too, because I was thinking about other areas in which I had put our family in jeopardy because I didn't listen to something that Glenn had said, a concern that he had raised. And it took me a while to get that too.
Right. So as a way for us not to kind of go back and forth with this, but as to a woman to another woman.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
You know, because there is a spot where you could just say, hey, if your husband is telling you the truth about something or himself, listen to him the first time. He is not lying.
Okay.
Why did you have a reaction right there?
Because I was just realizing that I had my own trust issues.
Yes.
And I am realizing that the trust issues I had with you were not based on you breaking my trust. It was based on what I had seen in other men with entrepreneurial endeavors and how it impacted the family unit.
Yeah.
And I did not want to jeopardize our family by going into leaps and bounds of debt. And you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I just, like, so there was my own trust issues. We were both having trust issues.
So our childhood traumas were fighting.
Yes. And so I'm trying to think, like, if I was speaking to Yvette at how many years ago? 8. So 30 years old. Like, what would I say to her now? You know, I think it's all a perspective shift too. I think you're right when you first said, sorry, I'm like a processor, y'all. I'm late. But I think you're right when you said, you know, when you married me, you thought I understood marriage. Mm-hmm. And I think that right there is like the ground level, or the foundational level of where things come from. Like if you understand, it's like Tico said, you're married to do what? Mm-hmm. And if you can figure that out or like be in alignment on that from day one, then I think it would help you move forward to the end of time. So you're not happily, but you know, happily ever after.
Well, I think now is a season where we both understand that it's just you and I, mm-hmm. and there's help, there's support, there's community, mm-hmm. but it's not outside of us.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like
yes.
It exists.
It doesn't come before us.
It doesn't come before us.
Yeah.
You know, and that takes a long time to get.
Yeah.
You know, and so.
But why? But does it have to?
It doesn't have to, but when there is I've trusted you here, and now I'm building a case against you, and I have all this evidence to show that if I trust you for a little bit, you're gonna let me down.
Yeah.
So go ahead out with the community. You know what I'm saying? Like, go do what you got to do, mm-hmm. because there is no safety for me here, and there's no trust with you here. Like, there's nothing that we are going to work on. Like, I think she needs to tell her husband, I realized that I put you in a position that you didn't want to be in, you know, and I'm sorry if my desires went before your needs, because your needs, you're not like, when I say I don't want another child, it's not because I don't want another child. It's because I don't believe our marriage and our lifestyle can handle another child. So to protect our lifestyle, our marriage, our family, our connection, we will not be having another child unless God literally delivers one to our doorstep. You know what I'm saying?
Or to my womb.
Yeah. Whoever the father is. So I just want to say, like, when that man is communicating, hey, I don't want to be in this situation right now. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't want to have kids yet. Right. And we have friends who are like, yeah, I don't want to have kids yet. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And that baby is here and it's harder. You know what I mean? Like, they've gotten it together, but it's hard. So I think when somebody tells you, hey, this is what I can handle. This is what I believe I can handle, you know, and I can handle a lot. This is what I believe I can handle. You should listen to them. Mm-hmm. You know, you really should. But I think, you know, because the whole thing could have been said with you, where you could have been like, well, I can't handle another year of school. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Man, it's so tricky.
It probably wouldn't have been well for my mental health, but yeah. But if you would have been aware of that, I think that because you are such a caretaker, you probably would have put things in place to help me, whatever. But I think you're right. I think she should go to him and just express, hey, I acknowledge that I've put you in a situation that you didn't really want to be in. Mm-hmm. However, we have both made decisions that landed us here, because she cannot be held fully responsible for where they are in their lives right now.
No, but as a way to start the conversation.
Yes, she can take ownership of that part.
And then they should, and I'm sorry, what are you going to say?
I was just going to say, I think that that's where it starts. And then it's like, okay, but we're here now. Mm-hmm. So at some point, like, I'm letting you know I want to be here with you and these kids. Do you want to be here? And then, like, if he can see himself, whatever, it's like, how are we going to make this right?
Yes.
Like, what are we going to do to move forward to make this right? Because at this point, I'm ready to quit. Like, I'm ready to just coexist with you in this house and be miserable, not so much in silence, because we both know how miserable we are, but I'm willing to be miserable with you. However, I don't want to live that way. I don't want that to be what our children witness. I want better for us. So are you willing to meet me halfway and then go from there? Like, I think there's a conversation there that can be had. I think that I know you said that you guys have been on and off with counseling since before you were married. I think it's worthwhile to find somebody to be on with, like consistently, that you both agree.
You find a good one, don't let them go.
Yeah, like that you both agree with as a person. Like, maybe even let your husband choose who the couple is, someone that he respects, a male who is in a healthy relationship. I think married at least 10 or more years would be great, right? You think that's a good number, or does it matter? Maybe it doesn't matter.
15.
I think at least 5.
15.
15? You think 15? Because us at 10 years of marriage, what is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, man.
Maybe 15 years of marriage or later, or old or late. What? More.
Yeah, I do think, hey, we're here now.
Yeah.
I want to be here with you, but I don't want to do it by myself.
Yeah.
How can we work together? How can, you know what I'm saying? Like, how can I do better? Or are you ready to call it quits? Like, let's just have an honest conversation, you know, and then go from there. Because I refuse to believe that every single man that gets an email here is like hates their wife, doesn't brush their teeth, cheats. Like, it's just not the reality. Like, and then it's like,
but the truth of the matter is, babe, if people are in relationships with those other men, why would they write in? What are they writing in about? I want the men to write in. I want the men to be like, guys, men, write in. We promise we never reveal anybody's identity. And you can make up where you're from. You can make up name. You could do whatever. Just write in.
Yeah, it's a good,
let us know what you're experiencing. What's life like for you? And maybe don't get too specific.
Yeah, but I need to hear. Here's what I want to know specifically about. Okay. Right, write in what you don't want to talk about with your spouse, what you're scared to communicate because you don't know the ramifications of it. Right, like, what have you given up on in your relationship? What does not work? Because I think what's happening is kind of like, I do this, I take care of this, and all he does is sit and play video games. It's like, can't be true. It just can't be true. Like, a lot of guys have a drive towards something. You know what I mean? But I do think, you know, like, in retrospect, like, Yvette realizing, like, oh man, like, she probably didn't have to, like, make that statement and say, hey, I'm not going back to work, and then also put parameters on me. Hey, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do. I'm like, man, what? You know what I'm saying? Like, it makes creating, and like thriving so difficult.
And I think there's a lot more that I understand as a creative now. Like, I don't know how many of you guys know, but prior to this, you know, I have my bachelor's degree in math.
Yeah,
I am a mathematician.
Yeah,
by trade.
And her friends were not very.
And I was teaching math. Everything was so calculated and prescribed. You know what I mean? So being creative and thinking outside the box, that is just not what I did.
Yeah, I'm going to cocktail parties with witty jokes about parallelograms.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
gosh.
what the heck's going on?
Anywho, he likes to bring that up too. How married are you, my love?
I'm so married that 2 days ago, the kids had a hamburger making competition. And I was watching them make their hamburgers, and I was like, it looks good, but it doesn't look like she's going to want to eat it. So I was like, oh, I'll hop into the competition and show you guys what an actual hamburger was supposed to look like. Just so Yvette can have something edible.
That was sweet, man.
Yeah, so I made you a nice little smash burger.
Yeah, they've
been cooking.
The boys have been doing these. Everything's a competition. But they made smash burgers, or I don't think Raya's burger was a smash burger. Was it? It wasn't. Okay.
It was a medium rare burger.
But let me tell you something. If Glenn hadn't stepped in, I would have been dying of dried.
Dying of thirst.
Theo's burger was so dry. And Raya's burger, I don't think it was cooked good. Like, it was really pink. Mm-hmm. And so Glenn coming in and giving me something, because they ended up giving me like a quarter of each person's burger, and the rule was whoever's burger won, I got to finish the rest of it. And so Glenn won. Yeah, it was well seasoned. Yeah.
And how married are you?
No, we can.
No. How married are you then?
I'm still married. That the other day I was coming home from boot camp, and I remembered driving by this place that was like a juice bar in our new town. And I was like, let me go by there and bring Glenn home some like juiced things. Because I have been wanting a juice for him, but I just haven't been able to get to it yet. And so I was like, let me go pick up some stuff. And so I went to the store out of my way, past our house, to go get those juices.
Let me tell you something. I'm on a 21-day fast. So Cleanse. Yeah, not fast. Cleanse. So it's going to be tough. But she's giving me some help. But
you about to say how married I'm not?
No. Look, man, let me tell you something about my wife. She has been going to the gym and going to work out in the mornings, and it's been so dope to see. The other morning, yo, let me tell you,
what is happening?
Because a couple episodes, I caught you with the churro.
Oh God!
So the other morning, I was like, "Hey, babe, how was your workout?" It was our first day going. She was like, "I'm so good. I'm doing great. I drove past Krispy Kreme's Hot and Ready."
Yeah, you know how Krispy Kreme has the, like, when the light is on, it means that the donuts just came out the oven. That's what he's talking about.
Yeah. So she hit me up and was like, I just drove past. I was like, oh man, that's awesome.
Because Krispy Kreme has me in a chokehold, y'all.
And then like 4 days later, she comes back for the gym with.
No, it wasn't the gym. I was just out running errands. It wasn't after the gym.
Okay, it wasn't after the gym.
It was not after the gym. Okay, fine. Because I would not do that. She comes home with a
single glazed donut crumb on her top lip.
Listen,
and I'm like,
listen.
This girl don't got a mirror. She don't have access to a mirror.
Wait. Listen, you need to know the full story. So what happened was I was eating it in the car on the way home. I pulled into the driveway, and at the same time, this mofo decided that he wanted to be outside, taking the dog out to go potty. And I was like, dang it, because I had plans to put my trash in the outside trash can, look in the mirror, because I had already learned my lesson with the churro.
These are crackhead behaviors.
He was...
You have a system for your deceit. And then she walks into the house.
It's not deceit. It's non-disclosure.
Okay, so look, we're walking into the house, and I was like, damn, baby, you went to Krispy Kreme's? And then you hear Theo out of the bathroom go, you didn't think about me. You went to Krispy Kreme? I'm like, man, she betraying all of us.
Gosh.
And that's just how married we are.